Hey guys, what is up? My name is Shane and welcome to my video here. Today we're going to be doing some transmission stuff on my car. This is my 1970 Dodge Challenger. We got a 4-speed here, overdrive unit. I've already got a 4-speed in the car here, but it's the standard one. Standard gears and all that. And I just want some highway drivability here. And I'm not racing this thing, so I figured let's get this and give me that overdrive gear. This is about 650 bucks. I figured I got the one in the car, and that one's probably worth about the same, if not a little bit more, because I think people generally want those more than the overdrive units. I'm probably gonna sell that later on if I want to keep this thing in the car and everything. So yeah, this is a good unit. Everything looked good in there, so I'm gonna put it in the car. In order to do that, I've got to get the old one out and put that one in. That'll be what this video is about. I think that this is really cool. Your input shaft here, for anybody who doesn't know, if you already know this, I mean, go ahead and skip it, but this is neutral and I'm just spinning the input shaft. The motor is gonna rotate pretty much all of the gears on the gate, or the gear cluster here, except for this one. This one's for reverse. Gear down there, gear here, gear here, and gear here. Those are your 4 speeds, and then you also have another kind of cluster down there. Both those gears mesh together to create your speeds. Just rotating the output here rotates your synchronizers, which are the goldish ones. You can't really see, it's better in person, but you got one for each gear. Your output shaft just rotates those. So this can move to the left, move to the right, same thing with this one. And it just connects the golden one there and this one, which is connected to the gear. Your reverse gear down here goes and slides in there, and then down in the other gauge, or the other gear cluster down there. And this is your reverse sensor. So this hits a linkage and hits against that plate that goes over here with 2 pieces that go on here and move this back and forth when you shift, and the linkage bars go back. Since this is an E-body, this is the mounting location, this is for a B-body, and so your linkage goes back and connects to your shifter up here. Probably a real shit explanation, but maybe you can see a little bit how it works. I think it's really cool, especially sitting here looking at it in person. I gotta jack the car up, put it on my jack stands. That'd be the first step. I got the old one out here. We got the new one there. And what I did off camera was, so the shifter bolts onto this plate here. And this plate goes right there. I'm not sure if it's the correct one. The guy who had the car before me did some weird stuff, so I don't know if this is the correct plate to go in here or what, because it doesn't you know, line up. Those 2 line up and then this one doesn't, so I'm not really sure, but it works with the shifter and everything. And so I had to drill out the bolts that were holding these, because they were Allens, they were tapered Allens, and the guy before me messed up the Allen keys, so I couldn't really get them out, and so I had to drill them out. And so now I gotta get some pliers or vice grips or something, get them on there and get them out of there. But at least I can use my plate here on the new transmission. I actually went to fill this with oil because I figured, well, hell, it's probably easier filling with oil outside than inside. And I was reminded why I don't do that. So, yep, awesome. I wish I had one of them drive shaft plugs, like they make just a yoke part that goes in here and plugs it up so that you can put the oil in it. Yeah, I guess it's ready to go in. So I'll slide it on under there. This one is a lot lighter than this one. I mean, even there's just this case piece for the lid here is significantly lighter there. This is the cross member for the transmission. This is the mount here. Got a little piece of rubber in there. First thing here is this thing was new, but basically it goes like this, and it really shouldn't. So I'm going to put some weld here and weld that. Hopefully I don't burn this rubber up too much. And then this here has decided to break on me. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like this. I think it's supposed to be 2 on each side here. The previous guy, he cut that one off. I think it might interfere with something else that he did, and so this was the solution. So I've only got 1 bolt on this side. I gotta weld this and fix this up. So I gotta weld that, and maybe I'll put some extra steel pieces here or something here to kind of stabilize it. But that's the next thing before actually putting the transmission in. It's under the car now, so I real quick just tried to fix this. I put some spot welds in there, probably not enough, and then I boxed this side off a little bit, put an extra piece of metal here, and then there's an extra piece of metal here to try to box it in, and so that this won't, you know, fracture again like it did. And again, that's welded there. Not the best welds, kind of in a hurry, but so yeah, I mean, it'll do something at least. I think this will hold up good enough. Got everything in there really. I'm not gonna show down there because I don't have any lights, but the linkage took a little bit to get that correct. The linkage on the overdrive units is a little different, so you got to adjust it, and that took a little while. It's all in there. Just filled it with fluid. My system for this is just running a tube down there. It's hard to see, but just running it down there, and then flipping the bottles upside down and maybe putting a hole on the bottom of the bottle and just letting it run down there. It does take a little while, but that's my solution to putting oil in the transmission. I just went for a test drive. I was going to film it, but I didn't. There's a few problems. One, I messed with the idle circuit of the carburetor along with the jet sizes, and it's dying when it comes to a stop, basically. And then the other problem is I can't shift into 3rd gear. It doesn't seem to be going far enough. I gotta jack it up again, probably adjust it some more. So I fixed the issue with the linkage not going into 3rd gear. I had to bend the bar that controls 3rd and 4th gear because I ran out of adjustment. So that's fixed. The shifter actually is perfect. Everything's adjusted really well there. I no longer have the shifter wobbling all over the place like I did with the way the plate was, and it wasn't tight on the transmission. So the shifter is nice and solid. And then I did fix the idle problem with the carburetor. I've taken it on a few drives now, and it's not a huge problem, but 1st gear is so low in this transmission compared to the other transmission. It's just a massive gap between 1st and 2nd. Pretty sure that's because it's more of, you know, a truck transmission. Probably gets some getting used to. Other than that, it's pretty great. You know, I cruise around in 2nd gear if I'm going through a town, or 3rd gear if I'm on back roads and stuff. And then overdrive works really well on the highway. I did the calculations and everything before. You can calculate the gearing and what RPM your motor is going to be at and everything. There's plenty of online calculators for that. So the gearing that I have now, obviously I've got the overdrive, so that's 0.73. Rear gears I have currently is 291 to 1. I swapped from 355s, which is the standard basically, to get better RPM on the highway. Before, and I didn't even consider this transmission because it was hard to find. So before, with the 4th gear being 1 to 1 and my rear gears being 291 to 1, I was rolling around 3,000 RPM at 70 miles an hour. And that's with that highway rear gear. So the 355s in the rear were horrible. Older vehicles like this, you're trying to run 70, 80 miles an hour, which is what, you know, you got to do to keep up with traffic. And you're just screaming down that highway, and it's not something that you want to do for too long. Not that the motor can't take it, but you're just screaming. Now with this setup with the overdrive gear, I'm at 2,000 RPM at 80 miles an hour. So that's a massive jump there, and it's really nice. It may be a little too much. If I put the 355 rear gear that I had in there before, I can do 2,500 RPM at 80 miles an hour. Obviously, this acceleration is taking a hit with all this gear. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm kind of getting used to it, so I may leave it. That's the story on that. It was definitely worth the money versus going with, you know, real expensive transmission that you'd pay a couple $1,000s for, and then, you know, have to finagle it into the car. I guess the next video will probably be me messing with the timing again. Depends on whether I get my distributor in time. I ordered a new distributor, and so I'll explain in that video what's going on with that. Look for that video if you want to see that. Yeah, thanks for watching, and hope to see you in that video.